Hey you all, I hope you had a great weekend. Today we are kicking off habit number 2, which is investigating hunger. A quick recap. Over the last 2 weeks, we started off with habit number 1, part 1, which was taking a 2-minute halftime eating intermission. This is designed to be a simple pause to allow you to put your fork or your food down and really tune inwards. Notice what you're feeling, how your food's feeling, how it's tasting, how much more food you need to eat. So again, leaning into that casual curiosity without any judgment, just simply taking time to notice. Habit number 1, part 2 was last week, and that one is all about eating slowly. We asked you to dramatically slow your eating pace. This is to build further on mindfulness and awareness when it comes to food. Nowadays, we are inundated with tasks and to-do lists. I don't know about you, but I constantly have a running list of things like a tornado in my head of all the things I have to get done. Oftentimes, it can be really easy to be sitting down with our meal. We're not even paying attention to it. Even if we aren't actively distracting ourselves with something like our laptop or our phone, it can be easy to get swept up in all the things that are whirling around in our head. We're not even paying attention to our food. I have sat down before to meals, ate the entire thing, finished it, and then realized I barely even knew what I had just eaten. So the last 2 weeks have been exercises in mindfulness, really starting to tune in, noticing your food, paying attention to it, how it's serving your body. This week we are moving on to habit number 2, which is all about investigating hunger. Now, hunger is a really interesting topic, and this is a really fun experiment that I'm excited for you guys to start to mess with. What we're asking you to do with this one is wait until you experience belly or body hunger prior to eating. Now, you might be thinking, well, of course I'm hungry before I eat. However, many of us actually aren't. So there are 2 different types of sensations, or I guess signals, that we experience. We experience hunger, which is actually a physical sensation that comes from our body or our belly, depending on how you experience it. It's a physical sensation from your body that says, hey, we need sustenance in the fairly nearish future. It's actually a need for food. However, appetite is different. Appetite is a psychological want that comes from our mind. Appetite is that little voice that tells you, hey, you should order a dessert even though you're stuffed from dinner. That's appetite. So appetite comes from the mind. Hunger is an actual need from the body for food. These are 2 things that can be really helpful to start to name and identify. For me personally, when I start to think like, oh, I really want a cookie, there's nothing wrong with that. But for me to be able to recognize, that's actually appetite, it's not really hunger, helps me then be able to better identify if the cookie is really truly worth it or if I should just wait till dinner. There's no right or wrong answer, but it's something really interesting to start to notice. Now, a couple of things about this habit. Hunger is something that lots of women struggle with a little bit, and for many of us, myself included, it's due to past really restrictive dieting. So hunger begins to be this sensation that many of us actually start to fear. We get nervous of it. I've heard so many women say, well, I overate at breakfast or lunch or whatever because I was so scared of getting hungry before my next meal. So I want you to know, if you feel a little fear or nervous or anxiety about experiencing hunger, you are not alone. And that's an okay thing to feel and experience, but it's something that we want to encourage you to lean into a little bit and start to notice it. This habit about experiencing hunger, true belly or body hunger before you eat, is more an exercise in self-trust than it actually is about food. It's an exercise in self-trust and also in having an abundance mindset, knowing that we are actually very lucky to live in a place where we don't have to worry about where our next meal is coming from. We actually have plenty of food. So this week, we're asking you to wait until you experience belly or body hunger prior to eating? Now, if you're not sure, if you're experiencing hunger or appetite, super common. Here is a quick question that you can ask yourself that may shed a little bit of light or give you clarity. I tend to ask myself, if I start to kind of feel something and I'm like, oh, I don't know if this is hunger or appetite, I ask, am I hungry enough right now to eat chicken and steamed vegetables? Or am I hungry enough right now to eat some grilled white fish and steamed vegetables? If the answer is no, I'm probably experiencing appetite. If I'm thinking, no, I just really want cookies, then that's probably appetite. But if the answer is yes, actually chicken and steamed vegetables, I will take that because I'm hungry, then it's safe to say that it's hunger. Now, if you ask yourself that question and you still aren't sure, like, oh, I don't really know if I would have that or not, that's okay. Take a time out and wait about 15 minutes, actively distract yourself, do something different, and then circle back around to it. Then ask yourself again, now am I hungry enough for protein and vegetables? I want you to know with this habit, there is some trial and error. That's okay. This is all one big experiment and it's doing something that you probably haven't done before. And so it's gonna take a little bit of practice. Now, a really common question that comes up all the time during this is, what if I'm on a set schedule and I have to eat? So just let's say you work from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. and you're on a very rigid schedule, like you have a set lunch period, it's like it's either eat then or don't eat again until 5 p.m. Then yes, your hands might be a little bit tied for lunch. Can you practice this at dinner? So can you practice this at breakfast? Just like habit number 1, part 1 and part 2, let's not worry about the meals or snacks that we are unable to practice this habit at, and instead let's focus, laser-like focus on the meals and snacks that we are able to practice this at, because all of us have meals and snacks throughout the week that we are able to practice this at. So if you have questions or comments about this, please let me know. There is a document in the portal to accompany this. I would love for you to read through that, give it a little bit of thought. This is a really fun one, but I also know it can be a little bit nerve-wracking. So if you are feeling all the feelings about this, if you're feeling nervous or scared or excited, I would love to hear from you. Let me know in the comments below which questions you have for me. And as usual, we are asking you to please track your ability to practice this habit. There's something really powerful that tracking does for us, and it kind of helps build some success momentum when we see like check mark, like, yes, I crushed that one. So, and also, of course, hold yourself accountable. So please track this habit. Let me know which questions or comments you have. Share all your feelings with me. I want to hear from you, and we'll talk soon.